It's Sunday, September 11th, 2022. I want to welcome a new member to the family, to the Babe family right here. A friend of mine breeds French Bulldogs, and it's probably not the smartest thing I've ever done, but I couldn't say no. Gave me a fantastic deal, and you know I love animals, especially dogs. We haven't even named her yet. If you have any ideas, it's a little girl. She's 8 weeks old. No name. Comment down below what you think a good name would be for this little French Bulldog. Again, probably not the smartest decision I've ever made, but I could not say no. And on top of that, when I get to the south to my new ranch, I'll be acquiring more dogs. 2 Patterdale Terriers. And most of you probably know I have good connections at Adler Horse Police Canine, where I will probably purchase a Dutch Shepherd or a Malinois, maybe even a nice hog dog like an American Bulldog. I've had one in the past, phenomenal dog. Pit Bull, another phenomenal dog. These are all options. I need a big protection dog for the farm. 2 Patterdale Terriers for varmint. And this little muffin right here, this little nugget, I don't know. We'll just give her lots of hugs and kisses, but absolutely adorable. Who can say there's no God when you look at something like this? I mean, look at it. Look at that. Look at that. She's absolutely adorable. So if you have a good name for a female French Bulldog, please comment down below. So I'm going to let her go do her thing. She's doing fantastic. But we got some serious things happening in America. And if you have pets, make sure you have food put away for them. Make sure that they're well taken care of. As you know, I consider them family members. She just gets into everything. And it's so important that we take care of our pets. And this is a great time to get a dog because they are really deterrents with crime. To me, they're better than an alarm system. They're a huge deterrent. And just talking about crime for a second, some of the crime out here in my area, I don't know what's happening in your part of the country, but right out here in the desert, we are experiencing a lot more violent crime. In fact, just at our Winco grocery store, about 3 miles from here, about 2 days ago, a lady was unloading her groceries, left her purse in her shopping cart, turned around, it was gone. Same thing happened at Costco a few days ago. Whole Foods, another purse stolen, and of course, more and more violent crimes, murders, assaults, home invasions, armed robbery, all kind of things happening right out here in the desert, which we never used to hear of years ago, but it's happening on a daily basis now. And I really want to stress that everybody use situational awareness. When you're out, so many people are on their phones, head down, walking through crowds of people with their heads down, especially women, young women with purses on. You know, kidnappings are going through the roof, abductions. And it's very easy to take advantage of somebody when their head is down, glued to a phone, no situational awareness, not paying attention to their environment. So no matter who you are, but especially if you're a woman, a young woman, you really need to be aware of your surroundings. This is no joke. A lot of real bad actors out there. People will take you. That's what they're doing now. So be very cautious of your surroundings and of your environment. If you have the room and the ability to take care of a dog is a fantastic deterrent in a home. It's a great alarm. Most times bad guys don't come to houses with dogs because they bark, make noise, they might get bit, so they go to the house down the street. They just don't want to deal with the dog. But I just wanted to go over that for a minute and also stress the point that make sure that you're investing in your training, investing in the right tool sets for your security purposes. Make sure that you have security. That's not just a cell phone calling 911. That's not an alarm system or a camera. Make sure you have the right tools to protect yourself and make sure you know how to use these tools. Invest in yourself and in your training, so if something bad were to occur, you know how to handle business. Now, switching gears to what's happening in the economy, Americans spent more on taxes in 2021 than on food, clothing, and healthcare combined. This is according to the released data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This, ladies and gentlemen, is completely unsustainable, where people are spending more money on taxes than food, clothing, and healthcare combined. Unsustainable. People are just not able to get ahead. And why are we not, as a country, spending less? I mean, what we need to do right now is lower taxes, not be raising taxes. And that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to be raising taxes to pay for all this debt and deficit. And if this country could stop spending, then they wouldn't have to raise taxes every year. I mean, 2021, they brought in more tax revenue than any other time in U.S. history, and they're going to want more because they cannot stop spending. The politicians cannot stop spending. The Hill today, how a railroad strike could send food prices soaring. Now, this could affect millions of people right here in the U.S. Who are unable to get the materials and ingredients to bake. Like grain and other ingredients needed to make baked foods. I mean, it's just one problem after the other. When you think about the droughts, you think about the 40+ million turkeys and chickens that have been euthanized because of the bird flu. You think about the flooding. You think about the amount of cattle being taken to the processors now because farmers can't afford to feed them. The amount that it costs now for fertilizer and the shortages of fertilizers. As soon as this week, 115,000 freight rail workers could walk out if they cannot reach a new contract with railroads, potentially shutting down the national railroad network that transports 20% of all grain shipments. This would be a catastrophic problem for the U.S. This would create a devastating ripple effect on the nation's fragile supply chain. Everything literally is shipped either by truck or by train. And this is a huge, huge deal. This could cost the U.S. economy $2 billion a day. Crops, fertilizer, 1/3 of all U.S. grain exports travel by rail. This will cut down America's ability to ship food to foreign nations like East Africa, where people are starving, the parts of the Middle East where people are starving, and where they face famine. And so these people will really, really be affected even more than they are right now. So we'll see what happens in the next week or two with the railroads, but it's absolutely incredible. You look at the food processing plants, how many fires we've had. Again, you look at the droughts, you look at the fertilizer shortage, now the rail problem, the rail strike we could be seeing. It's incredible. Everything's happening at the same time. The cattle, the turkeys, the chickens, it just goes on and on and on. It's amazing that we're even functioning right now. Here's another article I was reading on The Hedge this morning titled "Rates to 4% Come Hell or High Water. Fed Has Credibility Crisis and Powell Knows It." Former Fed Vice Chair Richard Clarida said this: "The Fed will have to raise rates to 4% hell or high water." No, the Fed is going to have to raise rates to at least 12%, because if we take this 8.5% inflation number, the Fed would have to probably go to about 12% to crush it. But if you believe what the real inflation number is, which is probably around 17, 18%, well, then the Fed would have to go to 20% in order to crush inflation. I think they're really worried here because, they told us things were transitory. They're telling us that inflation's 8.5%. But what if they went to 10, 11, 12% and it didn't do anything? It didn't stop inflation. Well, that would just expose that these numbers were false or fraudulent. And people would start asking, why aren't 10 or 12% interest rates stopping inflation? Well, because the real inflation number is much higher than the 8.5% they're telling us. Real inflation is 17 or 18%, maybe even higher. So they would have to raise the Fed's fund rate probably around 20% in order to stop what is happening right now. Look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't see the Fed pivoting because Powell will have a massive credibility issue. He will go down in the history books as the man who caused hyperinflation in America. Already, people are destroying him over the word transitory and how wrong he was. And now his credibility with, continuing to allow rates to remain low. Now this year, finally accelerating rates, and people now will say, well, it's too much too late. Now you're going to cause a depression. He would rather go down in the history books as the Fed chairman who caused a depression, not hyperinflation. And I would agree, it would be better to go into a depression than into hyperinflation. I think the damage with hyperinflation would be irreversible. I don't think America would ever come back. We don't make enough. We don't manufacture enough. We have too much debt. I think our credibility would be destroyed throughout the globe, and I don't think we would ever recover. Depression is going to be very, very difficult. Again, we don't make or manufacture things, so it's even going to be hard to come out of a depression. So maybe this would force America to start bringing jobs back into America, bring factories back, start producing and manufacturing, putting people back to work with 40-hour work weeks, with real wages, cut taxes, give people some breathing room. That's what I think has to be done. Comment down below. Let me know what you think needs to be done in order to kickstart this economy. But I think lowering taxes and getting people back to work would be a really, really good start. And most importantly, stopping all of this unnecessary spending. That would be a great idea. Food banks all over the U.S. are overwhelmed as cost of living pushes more into poverty. The food lines are getting longer and longer throughout the U.S., and it is going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. And the crazy thing here is the lines are getting longer, but they're telling us that unemployment is just 3.7%. 3.7%, but we have food lines, blocks long, thousands of people in these lines, and now people who have never been to a food bank are now going to food banks because they need food. People who once had nice jobs, living in nice houses, driving nice cars right now are going to food banks. How long are they going to hang on to those cars? How long can they hang on to those homes? Food partners across America are seeing longer lines and scarcer donations. This is going to be a big problem when people don't have the discretionary revenue to donate to charities and food banks. Well, poor people are going to suffer because the middle class is going to suffer. We forget about how important the middle class is. And it's the middle class that is really going to be devastated here. People don't realize that they are 1 or 2 paychecks away from big trouble. Just a couple bad breaks away from being in a food line, from needing help. 80% of this country lives paycheck to paycheck. Half of this country doesn't even have $400 in savings. This country is completely unprepared for the greatest depression it is going to see. And we have millions upon millions of people completely unprepared. Right now, millions of people are in trouble, and it hasn't even gotten bad yet. I think last I checked, I think it was like 40 million people are food insecure, not getting enough food in America. Things haven't even begun to get bad yet. Imagine what this is going to look like a year from now. This could really get out of control, and it is going to devastate people. It's going to devastate families. It's going to devastate this country, and we are unprepared as a nation. It's just amazing. We have all this money to throw all over the world, yet the food charities, the food banks don't have the resources, don't have the donations, don't have the food on the shelves, because this country is too busy spending money all over the world. It should be spending money right here on its own people, strengthening its own country up before we worry about everybody else. Look, I don't want to see anybody in the world suffer. I really don't. But if we can't help ourselves right here in America, we're not going to be able to help anybody else. Wolfstreet.com, buyer's strike takes effect. Used car auction prices plunge. This is just going to tell us where this is all going. And this is going to affect the housing market too. This is where the housing market, the direction the housing market is going in. Used vehicles sold at auction in August fell by 4% from July, down 12.5% from the peak in January. Prices are still crazy. They're up about 50% from August of 2019. But sales were down 9% in August year over year, and down 19% from August of 2019. So we're beginning to see things cool down in the used car market. And they're going to continue to slow down as it's going to cost more money to pull out a loan to buy a car. If you get a personal loan, it's going to cost more money. And so this will have a big effect on the auto industry and on the used car industry. And of course, people are getting laid off. There's more people unemployed than 3.7% in America. I can guarantee you that. You know that. I know that. Shadowstats.com says it's around 24%. So people, if they don't have a job, they're not going to be buying cars. If they're getting evicted out of their apartments, their credit's destroyed, they're not going to be able to buy a used car. If their wages are not keeping up with inflation, they're not going to be able to buy a used car, new or used. And this is going to roll right over into the housing market. 15,000 cars a day in the United States of America are being repossessed right now. It's going to destroy people's credit. It's going to destroy their ability to drive to work. And it's going to continue to really weigh down the housing market. Remember, the auto market is 6 to 12 months ahead of the housing market. And if people cannot drive to work, if people are losing their cars and getting their credit destroyed, the house is next. And the whole house of cards is coming down. And this is why I've said over the last 3 years, get your house in order, because this whole economy and these markets are a facade. And now it's all being exposed that this whole thing was built on funny money, on monopoly money, on juiced markets, on manipulated markets, on a rigged system. And now, just like all Ponzi schemes, sooner or later, it all comes to an end. And people that are in these Ponzi schemes, invested in these Ponzi schemes, land up losing it all and cry and just cannot believe it came to an end, that they got suckered, that they got duped, that the Fed didn't have their back. You know, my concern is, what if the Fed, many people just believe the Fed is going to ride in and save the day again. Well, what if it's different this time? What if the Fed is purposely going to shut this economy down? Like, just really throw a wrench in the gears, lock it up, vaporize all this money, suck all this money out of this economy, cause massive unemployment. This is what they may do on purpose to get inflation under control. Now, it didn't have to be this way. They could have started to do this 10 years ago. They didn't. They waited way too long. And why that is, I don't know. Maybe this is part of the whole wealth transfer. Maybe this is the reset. You better be on the right side of this game, ladies and gentlemen, because it is a wealth transfer. It is going to be some sort of reset. What is happening right now is unsustainable. And it doesn't take the highest IQ in the room to figure out something is going on. Something is very wrong. There is crisis after crisis after crisis. And if you're not protecting yourself right now, physically, spiritually, and financially, you're going to get wiped out, period. Because when this whole economy really implodes, I mean, you ain't seen nothing yet, but when it really implodes, when these food charities don't have food, people are going to get angry. And they're going to start coming to people's houses for their food, for their stuff. And they're not going to be too nice. And so you better get your house in order, and you better get in the mindset that, hey, this thing could get real gnarly really, really fast. And if you think the police are going to come and save you, you're going to be in for a surprise, because more than likely they're going to be either very busy or they're going to be busy protecting their own homes with the crime that we're seeing right now. The crime that you're going to see is going to be 1,000x what you're seeing right now. And just imagine, now there's no police. They're either at home or they're just so tied up and overwhelmed that they can't help you. You're on your own, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be on your own financially. You're going to be on your own with your own security. So prepare. It's a nice weekend to maybe go to the store and add a few cans of food, maybe some emergency food, maybe some water, maybe some other essential emergency items, first aid, tourniquets, things like that, extra clothing, just extra gear. Anything you think you need, get it now while you can. I know a lot of people will be out watching football games and basketball games and doing whatever. We need to stay on track. We need to continue to prepare. This now has got to be literally a part of your life. You got to be walking this stuff every day. You know, I love these people that, you know, make videos and tell you, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. Take a look at these people. Do they look like they even know how to protect themselves? I mean, really, these people, take a look at them. Do they know how to even protect themselves. And you can tell when you look at people if they know how to take care of business. Do they know how to take care of themselves? I mean, do they even know how to even take care of themselves financially? Probably not. I look at these people, I question them. There's just so much fakeness out there right now. And this is the time where you and me, we all better get real serious, and we better get real right now. Look, people that want to have this illusion and you know, act like, you know, they can do this, they can do that, they're completely prepared, they can take care of their business. I look at these people and they are a joke. Do not be one of those people. And you need to be a person that walks the walk every day. This now has got to be incorporated in your daily routine, that you're every day you're doing something. You're either saying those prayers, walking closer to God and getting stronger spiritually. You're adding assets or you're stacking cash. You're doing something to get stronger financially. You're taking on an extra job, an extra side hustle. You're hitting the gym a little bit more. Maybe you know, hitting a jiu-jitsu class, a Muay Thai class, a boxing class. You need to be the hardest person in the room to kill. So get your house in order spiritually, financially, and physically. Get you need to be well-rounded, ladies and gentlemen. If you think you're just going to pick up the phone and call the police and they're going to save you, get out of the matrix, put down the Kool-Aid. It doesn't work that way. If you think that your bank is going to have your back and that your money's safe on the screen, you better get out of the matrix. You better get out of it. And if you think that this is not demonic warfare taking place right now, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. You're lost. And I hope that you open your eyes and your heart and you really see what's taking place. This is very evil. This is very evil. People are going to starve. People are going to lose their jobs. People are going to lose their homes. People are going to go homeless. We're going to see the drug rate explode, suicide explode, alcohol abuse explode. Addictions across the board explode. This is very demonic. This is why right now you got to get strong and you got to get ready. God bless. Have a great weekend. Get out there. Prepare.